Stand by. The program will begin soon.
There's an example yesterday I saw of this woman who's been here. I mean, we might even play this clip. She's been here 20 years. She has 3 kids who were born here. Her kids are because of birthright citizenship, which is another subject that's coming up. And she never bothered to even try to resolve her immigration status. Not in 20 years. She has never tried to resolve her immigration status. Not through Republican presidents, not through Democratic presidents, nothing. And so now, she's worried about being deported because they put out the sob story of this woman. Well, that's not the average person they're even looking at right now. The average person they're looking at, crossed in the last 3 years, are CNN is cutting jobs to embrace the digital future. No, they're cutting jobs because, as I like to say, they suck. CNN is undergoing a significant restructuring, planning to lay off about 200 employees, which constitutes approximately 6% of its workforce. This move is part of a broader strategy under CEO Mark Thompson to pivot towards a digital-first approach, focusing on expanding digital subscriptions and reducing costs from traditional TV operations. Wait a minute! Didn't they already try the CNN subscription service, which failed miserably? Which, if you truly have compassion for trans kids, you would allow them to all go through puberty, because 90% of kids who think they're trans change their mind once they go through puberty. That puberty is the fix for most of the problems. But you guys want the medicalization of kids and sterilization of kids and medical and surgical altering of kids who can't make that decision at 12 years old or 13 years old. Why is it when I try to show empathy and concern, people always misconstrue it? Last time I asked someone if their mom at least got a good check from the clinic that botched the abortion. Oh! Oh, God.
Damn it, AD.
I think you just need to find a gentle limit.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
I would be willing to bet everything I own that submitting a 22-minute video montage that shows the most egregious acts of violence you can find from that day, when the defendant in question is on that video for only 6 seconds and the scene walking calmly, is highly prejudicial and a violation of the defendant's due process rights. The person was found guilty and sentenced to 19 months in prison. Now, it took 2 hours to read through all of the documents that were in the case file. Every motion submitted by the defendant was denied. Every motion by the defendant was denied. How often does that happen? And every motion submitted by the government was granted. They turned a trespass misdemeanor that would have resulted in a $50 ticket into 5 misdemeanors and a felony charge by charging the defendant with a statute that would have required the Secret Service to rope off the section he was in, which they did not. They also charged him with a statute that would have been required them to prove Mike Pence was in the building at the time he walked through that corridor. He was not. And they used an Enron statute that the Supreme Court struck down. You accept a pardon, you are admitting guilt. Period. That's the, because you can't be pardoned if you're not guilty.
Whether he can preemptive pardon, whether he can issue President's reportedly asking his staff whether he can issue preemptive pardons for himself, his family members, Rudy Giuliani. There's a simple answer: no. No, Mr.
Oh,
that
you
would
can't?
Be a gross abuse
Oh,
of the presidential
it's a
pardon
gross abuse of presidential pardon authority. Well, there you go. You accepted a pardon, Adam Kinzinger. You think you may have committed a crime. Oh, here, Jamie Raskin. Dirty Q-tip. Dirty Q-tip, Jamie Raskin. What else? What did he have to say?
Well, the seeking of pardons is
Yes, it's only on
powerful
one side.
demonstration of the consciousness of guilt. Or at least the consciousness that you may be in trouble.
Jamie
And that's
Raskin.
what's so shocking
Did he get a
about
pardon
this.
also? Wasn't he on
Well,
that committee?
The seeking of pardons is...
He was on that committee. I'm curious if you're going to condemn that part. Are you going to condemn that pardon?
You know, Joe Biden pardoned a lot of people. Yeah, he should answer for that and explain.
Lots of murderers, lots of drug dealers, lots of people who killed people, commuted the sentence of a couple murderers. One drug dealer who people died from taking the drugs that they sold them.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
The Obama-Aniston rumors have gone wild. Rumors have emerged on social media that suggest Barack and Michelle Obama might be heading towards divorce, with speculators thinking Barack Obama to actress Jennifer Aniston. Those rumors have gained traction following Michelle Obama's absence from Jimmy Carter's funeral and the inauguration, and are based on tabloid stories and social media speculation without solid confirmation from the individuals involved. So far, they're still rumors, and I don't know why people are perpetuating them, but it is kind of fun to perpetuate rumors like that. No one's come out to, out and out deny anything. That's the weird part.
We should just take a deep breath and acknowledge the audacity.
The audacity!
Of a president who's so clearly concerned about his own criminal culpability.
Oh my God, his own criminal culpability and his son's business dealings. I know that they're talking about Joe Biden, aren't they?
And that of his family members.
Like the boy asked, are cats really soul suckers? Yes. Yes. That's why I'm not into cats. Dogs, man. I'm a dog guy. Avocado Diablo, is there an aisle in the grocery store that is less objectionable to have sex in? Where do you come up with this shit? Dude.
Has done something no person in the world has ever done before. A dead man, a dead politician has risen.
Yes.
Somebody who if we were 4 years ago at Davos, he's buried, a dead.
And I wonder how many people at Davos have been funding Donald Trump's demise that has failed. I wonder how many people at Davos, again, let me say it again. I wonder how many people at Davos have been funding what they had hoped would be Trump's demise. I bet you there's a few of them there. And it didn't work, did it now? Didn't work now, did it?
Politically known to me. He's now returned. This is the greatest comeback in political history of a politician. And then, therefore, he thinks he can do anything.
End of the show, every day on my show, if I put something on the screen or I'm talking about it, or it's a topic or an article that I'm presenting in this show, I provide links to every single thing that I've talked about, and even more, the ones I didn't even get to. I drop them in the chat at the end of the show, and also I drop them in the description. So if you want to find these articles, they will be in the links at the end of the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only P-Dog Night.
What up, people? Glad to see you here. I'm glad to see a new day. Every day I'm happy about that. So good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as P-Dog Night on the internet. And welcome back to the P-Dog Night channel, where Festivus has ended. At least Democrats' Festivus. You know, it's funny. If you've paid attention to this Cory Booker thing, which we'll talk about later in the show, a lot of people are really excited that Cory Booker broke the record for the longest speech, or I guess filibuster, ever on the United States Senate floor, breaking the record of fellow Democrat Strom Thurmond, who was filibustering the civil rights movement. Now, if you're wondering why I said Democrat Strom Thurmond, is because Strom Thurmond was a Democrat when he was filibustering the Civil Rights Act, and then later he went over to the Republican Party eventually. And what's interesting about Strom Thurmond, who filibustered the Civil Rights Act, not only does he have a daughter out of wedlock who happens to be black, his top aide, and I think he was at the time the highest paid senatorial aide, like, you know, assistant, whatever, in the United States Congress, was a black man for a long time. Like his most his closest assistant was a black man, and a lot of people didn't know that because they always, Strom Thurmond's this racist from South Carolina and whatnot. But yeah, so that's just an interesting tidbit. Doesn't really necessarily mean anything. He just liked the guy, and the guy was very loyal to Strom Thurmond for while he was in the Senate. So, but yeah, Cory Booker broke another Democrat's record. And we're going to find out what the hell that means. But first, of course, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. It is Hump Day, and happy Hump Day. It's the 2nd of April, 2024. 2 days till, my birthday. So let's get on with it. First in the chat, today's Resolute Gerb. What happened there? What happened? Where? AD, did you get a cramp in your typing fingers or your thumbs or whatever you get yourself into the chat with? Anyway, also good morning, Avocados Diabli, of course, and Tyre Alexander, the Scourge. Welcome. Also, good morning, Lewis, our new regular, who's always in bright and early. Good morning, Mike Savage, Blarg. Amazing Disgrace is in the house. Attack Alpaca's here. Green Badger out. Wait, I already said. No, I didn't say Green Badger Outdoors. Donkey Punch Bandit, the greatest name on the internet, is here, and that's it. Where the hell is everybody? People not getting notifications? What the hell's going on? 14 people are, and there's only 5 likes. Now that's a problem too, but we'll see what happens. On my screen, I popped up first, so I think we practically tied. Well, you might need to refresh or pop out your chat because you're not even in the top 3. Oh no, you're second. Yeah, never mind. You are in the top 3, but you're second. But you're behind. I actually got into my own chat before anyone else today. You can't see it though. All right. So what are we gonna do today? I was kind of hoping to see more people here. But we'll get there. Thanks to the people who have shared the show already, though. I appreciate you very much. Looks like then that's yesterday's. Wait, what happened to the other one? That says unforced error. Gotta get it. Okay, those are all reaction. Oh, I see they did. Okay, thank you, Resolute Tyrus. You got a little Tyrus action here. Now, this is interesting because I don't even remember Tyrus as a wrestler. I know. I mean, I understand that he was, but I don't remember. And then we got the requisite Ric Flair. Woo! There. Thank you, Ty Alexander. Also, people who retweeted my post, Ty Alexander, Amazing Disgrace, and Resolute Germ. Here's Green Badger Outdoors. Whatever the hell that is. Now, that's funny. That's a funny GIF. Again, if you haven't shared the show up there at the top, just click that link and reply with a let's go, including a GIF or a meme, which would be fantastic. By the way, Dom O'Leary's in the house, Kara Soldier, Roasted Opinions, Jethro Hetero. Nice to see you all here. Awesome. And then Amazing Disgrace. We got okay, I guess I have to click this to make it go. Looks like a kind of a hurricane. What the hell? Oh my goodness. There's some garbage cans being blown down the street during a hurricane. It's garbage can races. Which one's going to win? The gray one or the green one? Looks like the gray one's got the lead. All right. Thank you for the people who are already sharing the show. That's fantastic. Yeah, advocacy. We'll get to that in a second. It is hump day. I thought this one was cute. This bulldog attempting to work an agility course. That's nice. Oh, you can't see it. Here it is. So that's the one that, oh, wait a minute. Hold on. This is funny. We'll do it without the music, but this is hilarious. I never watched the end of that one, so I didn't realize what it was. So here is a bulldog attempting to do one of those dog, agility courses. There he goes. He's doing his jumps, which I'm surprised a bulldog even could do that. Then he decides, then he's going to pee on the, he's not going through. I don't think that was the task you're supposed to do on the agility course. You're not supposed to pee on the tunnels, but anyway, that's funny. Let's see. What was my other one? I try to do 2 on Happy Hump Day. What's this? Oh, this is, so if you ever have to take a sobriety test, let's see, is there music on this one? Yeah, bump. Okay. So here it is. This is a sobriety test on the road, and we're going to watch the whole thing because apparently it's kind of funny. Here we go.
Step, bump, step, bump, 5, 6, 7, 8. Step, bump, step, bump, step, bump,
okay.
Step, bump. Auto beret, kickball change, step, clap.
Okay.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Right. You know what would be good is if you hitch kicked and then you kind of did that and a barrel turn.
This has got to be this has got to be that's got to be a TV show. That's not real. Reno 9/11. Yes, I know. It's still funny though. It's funny as hell.
That
was really good. You a dancer?
No, not I'm just drunk.
Yes, yes, I know it's not real, but it's still funny. Okay, so happy hump day, everybody. There you go. All right. The question. And also apparently it's Liberation Day. Now sometimes this gets a little silly, and I'm going to be honest, this is silly to me. But this is from Good Morning's Liberation Day. Liberation Day. I don't think so. Liberation will be when we liberate ourselves from the tyranny and controllability. Oh, shut the fuck up. Somebody's calling this as Liberation Day, though. Trump claims it's Liberation Day. And this is Pat Ryan for my constituents back here on planet Earth. It will be the largest single-day tax increase in American history. Anyway, so this is the day, apparently all the trade, all the tariffs started going into effect. And so a lot of people are, what do you call it? They are, they're spoofing the idea of Liberation Day. Bill Kristol, douchebag. I guess today is Liberation Day from an international economic system that produced by far the greatest increase of global prosperity and well-being in human history. Okay. So a lot of people are pissed off about so-called Liberation Day. I don't know why Trump decided to call it Liberation Day. Here's the White House. Happy Liberation Day, America. President Donald Trump has secured nearly $5 trillion in investment and trade commitments from across the globe. So yes, people are investing in America too. Now, all these people who are announcing these investments in the United States, you got to remember, it's going to take them time to get their shit up and running too. But it's a net positive, I suppose. I guess I see it as a net positive. You just got to hope that this is successful. And also, an interesting thing that I don't remember who's the dude in Alberta. He just said the other day that ideally there would be no tariffs, and that would be the only thing good. Well, that's interesting. Isn't that kind of the goal when you start a trade war with tariffs, that everyone changes their mind? In fact, the White House just announced apparently India has decided to remove all tariffs to Indian products, which means I think the United States could reciprocate. So we might, who knows how this is going to work out. Good morning, tall person, by the way. They shot a Malay in the same way, all the way until his policy showed significant uptick, then silence. Yeah, oh yeah, no, I know, I agree with you. Good morning, also Reaction Puerto Rico, and JB, and TC. Nice to have you all here. So anyway, now here's someone says, breaking, if you're not celebrating, here's a video to show you why you should. Not one lie detector. So let's go with one positive about Liberation Day and one negative. Okay, so let's start with this guy and see what he has to say. It's 2 minutes, a couple minutes long.
Whatever you think of Trump, his economic plan makes complete sense. The US has 36 trillion in debt. In 2025, they will spend 6 trillion, but will only collect 4 trillion in revenue. So they need to borrow 2 trillion, and this will increase their debt to 38 trillion. Trump's economic plan is based on 3 levers. Number 1, cut expenses by 1 trillion.
Could be a start.
Doge,
that's the only thing I want to see. I want to see them cut spending until we get the deficit under control. That's me. I love that idea. This is the airplane emergency theory, and I say this all the time. Airplane emergency theory. Write it down. It's my concept. On an airplane, when the airplane has trouble and those little masks come down, what do the flight instructors and whatever attendants tell you that you should do? You secure your mask so that you stay able to help others. But until you secure your mask, don't pay attention to anybody else. Get your mask on, get yourself breathing, and then you can go help everybody else. Our entire world is a plane in distress. And right now, we need to secure our mask before we go out and help everybody else. And that means we need to cut our spending in a big way. I wish, somebody a few years ago, I don't remember who it was. It might have been Ron Paul before his son got in the Senate. Might have been Ron Paul who talked about what he called the penny plan, where you have every single agency in the United States government reduce their expenditures by 1% for 5 years in a row. And then start over. Then start from there. And you would save billions and trillions of dollars. I still like that idea, but apparently they're going to go through agencies one by one. And if an agency, look, just because and the other part that just drives me nuts about the way Congress allocates money is when agencies are allocated money and they have money left over at the end of whatever they're doing, they all rush out to find ways to spend it so that their budget isn't cut the next year. There should be some incentives for coming in under budget. That's what I think. And if you could do that, and also any money that they don't spend by the end of the time period in which they were supposed to spend it should go right back into the fucking treasury. I'm swearing now. Now I'm swearing. So there you go. That's my idea. All right, well, let's finish what this guy's saying.
Musk, he's targeting waste and fraud. Like
Good.
Social security payments for people who are 150 years old. That is just fraud.
Now,
2,
Yeah, we're not sure about the 150 years old, but we do know that the Biden administration made some kind of provision that every one of these illegal aliens that they put on temporary protected status could get. Now, I don't know if it's a social security number or a Musk and the other guy said it was social security numbers, or it might be some kind of an ID, but either way, that allows them full social security benefits if they stay here. Why? Why'd we do that? Well, they're trying to buy voters. Anyway, but however it is, there's certainly waste in all these programs.
Increasing revenue by 1 to 2 trillion through, number one, tariffs. They will increase tariffs from 50 billion to 500 billion target. People will say, but other countries will retaliate. They will not be able to do it. The US is the biggest customer on earth. They consume 20 trillion every year. They are the biggest importer. They import 3 trillion every year. Plus, the current tariffs is actually not fair. Why should US cars entering Europe faces 10% tariffs,
right,
while the European cars entering the US just pay 2.5%? It's not fair.
So,
and because
even
of the
those
tariff
out.
changes, it now makes economic sense to build factories and businesses inside the US
Those
again.
will take
that
time,
means
though.
More jobs means tax-paying businesses and more foreign investment coming in. He will also increase revenue by deregulation. He will remove unnecessary regulations and rules, making it easier to do business, so business can grow faster, generate more tax revenues. He will also make this gold card, which is offering lifetime US residency for 5 million. I think at least 1 or 2 million individuals globally can afford it. So if just 10% of them, if just 100,000 people buy this card, that's 1 trillion in incremental revenue. The third lever is
that probably ain't going to happen,
reduce taxes. If he successfully cut 1 trillion in waste and expenses and add 1 to 2 trillion in revenue, the US will have a surplus. They will have more money than they want. So he will cut taxes. For individuals, anyone gaining more than 150K, he will make them pay 0 taxes. And on corporate taxes, he will go down from the current 21% to 15%, compared to the European average of 22%. France average is 25, I think, and Germany is 30. So at 15% corporate tax, the US will become one of the most business attractive countries on earth.
Ding.
Bottom line, this is exactly how government should be run, efficiently. Because when you eliminate waste, the money can actually go where it is actually needed, to the elderly, to the sick, to people who cannot work. And that is the real purpose of government, to protect the weak. Very few countries have the political will to do it. It takes leaders with backbone, charisma, and clarity of vision. Do you have leaders in your country pushing for real reform, or are they talking about non-relevant side topics? And let me know if you think Trump's plan is bad. Let me know why, because I think it is just common sense.
Okay,
Whatever
so there you
think
go.
of
There's
Trump, his economic.
There it is. Okay, so that's a pro. Now let's find a con. Let's find a here. Oh, let's talk. Let's see Robert Reich. Now I'm sure this is going to be all fear. He's going 5 minutes. I'm not playing 5 minutes of Robert Reich. Fuck that guy. Let's see here. Let's see. Oh, here's Pat Ryan was on. This is CNN. This is only 12 seconds. Let's see what he says, because I hate when they pull up 12 seconds of what you talked about. Did they ask you any other questions, Pat? Let's see what you said.
Let's be clear. Tariffs are taxes on the middle class, on small businesses, on working families and working people. And again, the American people.
Not if you buy American.
That they want, certainly in my district.
Okay, so that's pretty short. I was kind of hoping for like someone else actually had a. I would do Robert Reich, but I can't listen to him for 5 minutes. He's just a worm. Let's see, and that's Liberation Day. Joe Biden sold oil reserves to communist China. Trump is demanding reciprocal trade with China. Massive upgrade. Happy Liberation Day. Okay, I guess I'm not going to. Let's move on because I want to keep going here. Also trending, Val Kilmer. Someone asked about Val Kilmer. Yes, Val Kilmer has passed away. Lots of tributes on X on here. Here's the article in the Washington Post. Here, you know what's funny? So when I was a kid, I guess not. When I say kid, like when I was in my high school to college years. So I guess I was a kid. Good morning, Scribe. Go Thrapple. Anytime I saw Val Kilmer in a movie, I assumed the movie was just going to be bad. Because when he was younger, I never thought he was that great of an actor until until the movie Tombstone, when he plays, who does he play? What the fuck's he? That guy. You know who I'm talking about. Which guy he plays in Tombstone? Doc Holliday. And that movie, I thought he was great. I'm like, oh, okay, this is not bad. And I didn't even think he was that great in the first Top Gun either, or the second Top Gun. He couldn't speak barely, but I grew to enjoy his style eventually, and there were some other movies that he did that were pretty good. Anyway, Val. Now this is, but this one pisses me off. Look what the New York Post puts as a headline. Val Kilmer, star of Batman Forever, Top Gun, dead at age 65. Would you? Okay, here's. I'm gonna put a question in the chat here, and you can answer it. Or here, let's do a little Q&A here. If you were going to write a headline about Val Kilmer's death, what two movies would you mention first? I wish I could type faster, but I can't. So there you go. If you're gonna write, I have too many. I'll just put what movies would you mention first. Limit it to two, though. Limit it to two. Because Batman Forever would not have been one of them, in my mind. Top Gun, sure, because he was definitely Top Gun was a biggie there, right? But Batman Forever was so forgettable of the Batman movies. And maybe it's just me. I don't know. I don't know. It's just not the one that I would have thought of first. So anyway, put the movies you think you would have put first. Oh, I didn't realize I had that all on the screen while I was doing that. Anyway, so let's go back to this article. Val Kilmer, star of Batman Forever, Top Gun, dead at 65. Val Kilmer, the Hollywood film star who starred in Top Gun and Batman Forever, died Tuesday in Los Angeles. He was 65 years old. He succumbed to pneumonia. His daughter Mercedes told the New York Times he was diagnosed with throat cancer, which required 2 tracheotomies in 2015 and later recovered. The Los Angeles native made his film debut as rock star Nick Rivers in the 1984 movie Top Secret, which was written and directed by the comedy team that created Airplane. 2 years later, Kilmer launched to superstardom in his role as Lieutenant Tom Iceman Kazansky in Top Gun, the highest-grossing movie of 1986. Kilmer played the rival of Tom Cruise's Lieutenant Pete Maverick Mitchell. Ironically, Kilmer had to be talked into doing the movie. I didn't want the part. I didn't care about the film. The story didn't interest me, Kilmer wrote in his 2020 memoir, I'm Your Huckleberry. My agent, who also represented Tom Cruise, basically tortured me into at least meeting Tony Scott. He was praised for his role as Jim Morrison in the 1991 biopic The Doors, about a music icon in which he did his own singing. There were challenges, particularly when he started to lose it, which was a whiskey deterioration in the throat. He said in the 1991 interview with Bobby Wygant, whoever that is. Kilmer also starred in the 1990s hit True Romance, Heat, and famously replaced Michael Keaton as Gotham's Cape Crusader in Batman Forever. Kilmer accepted the role as Bruce Wayne's alter ego without even reading a script. I was buzzed about being Batman but hardly for artistic reasons, Kilmer later wrote in his memoir. With 2 franchises going, Batman and The Saint, I could start an artist community, write poetry, plays, and become a wild auteur I saw as my destiny. Kilmer would become unhappy about wearing the heavy suit, but would later joke about the 1995 movie. I mean, it's so bad, it's almost good. And that's why I would not put Batman. I would not have put Batman in the title. The Saint, maybe. That'd be a good one, I think. Let's see. Let me see what your answers are, though. And by the way, good morning. Willie is in a house in Plague Trucker Zach. Now what studios? My dear friend Wu from high school. And Robert Banks is in the house. So anyway, let's see what you guys had to say though about what movies would you put? Oh, Tombstone. Is that what did I say? What movie did I say? Tombstone and Willow. Willow, Top Secret, Real Genius. Real Genius. Yeah, that's one they forgot. I don't think his movie debut in. They said his movie debut was in Top Secret. That's not the one I would have thought of. But Real Genius, I do remember that movie, and that movie was terrible. Tombstone and Salton Sea. Tombstone, The Salton Sea. So there's a few. The Saint, Tombstone, Ghost of the Darkness. He's done a lot of movies. Kilmer's Bruce Wayne was one of the best. Do you think so? I thought Batman Forever was terrible, but that's just me. All right. Anyway, that's what the New York Post talking about Val Kilmer. Let's move on. Other news in just normal everyday news. March sees a record low in illegal border crossings. All right, that's good. In March, the number of unauthorized crossings in the U.S.-Mexico border fell sharply, making a significant decrease from previous years. Under the administration of President Donald J. Trump, the U.S. border registered encounters with 7,181 migrants attempting to cross into the United States unlawfully. This marks a substantial drop compared to March of the preceding year under former President Biden, where figures were recorded at 137,473 in 2024, 163,000 plus in 2023, and 211,000 in 2022. So, hey, but look, the Biden administration lowered the amount of crossings. Oh, my God. Anyway, the term of Trump effects has been attributed to the drastic reduction, with proponents crediting specific policies aimed at bolstering border security. So, and there's more in that article, but that should be good news to people who followed that particular topic. Now, this one, I know sometimes every once in a while I have to do sports in a trending topic, and this is one of those days. So Nikola, how do I say his first name? Jokic, the Joker, the center for the Denver Nuggets, did something massively impressive last night. His stat line was 61 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists, 6 3-pointers, 2 steals. He had a 61-point triple-double. That's amazing. There's just one problem. The Nuggets lost. It's unfortunate. Apparently, at the end of the game, Westbrook just caught the Joker, whatever, a win, down 138 to 137, 20 seconds left. Westbrook misses the foul shot, then leading 139-138 with 9 seconds left. Westbrook blows open transition layup, leading 139-138 with 0.1 second left. Westbrook fouls a three-point shooter. Nuggets lose 140-139, which is pretty, is that overtime or is that the fucking regular score? That's that's like going back into the, like, when there was a couple years where scoring in the NBA just got really out of hand. That's a lot of scoring in a game. So Westbrook, career high triple-double for Jokic, and Westbrook, unfortunately, did not have the great game. All gibberish to you? Okay, well, anyway, let's just say 61 points, 10 assists, and 10 rebounds is a big damn deal. Okay, that's the moral of the story. Moving on. Wisconsin's trending, obviously, because of the election yesterday. Apparently, Susan Crawford, is that her name? Whatever this lady, what the hell's her name? She won the Supreme Court race in Wisconsin, and so lots of people are hating on Elon Musk because he put a lot of money in that race, but so did a lot of other billionaires. In fact, he was the only billionaire putting money into the race from the right side, but lots of billionaires contributed on the left, but he obviously did a lot more. So anyway, but Susan Crawford did win, which means the status quo in the Wisconsin Supreme Court is still a 4-3 liberal to conservative justices. I guess they were hoping they would flip that, but Democrats need something to celebrate, so they're really excited about it. Here it is. In a recent Wisconsin Supreme Court election, Susan Crawford, a Dane County judge, won against Brad Schimmel, a Waukesha County judge and former Republican Attorney General. The race became the most expensive judicial contest in United States history, with significant financial contributions from various sources, including a notable $25 million from Elon Musk supporting Schimmel. Crawford's victory was shifted. Now this is weird because this is a Grok summary, and this is not correct. It says Crawford's victory has shifted the court's balance to a 4-3 liberal majority, impacting the state's judicial landscape. No, it was already a 4-3 judicial majority. It was just that one of the justices, I believe, retired or something. And so this is why they had this special election. So it went from 3-3 to 4-3, but it was already 4-3 prior to that judge leaving. Whatever. But so they are just excited as hell. Everybody's just jumping all over this. Just, this is the greatest thing since, since Stacey Abrams won, I guess. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not correct. Good morning, Shrapnel, by the way, and Lord Stanhope. So anyway, yeah, she got 46% of the vote, and Schimmel got 40% of the vote, and a lot of people didn't vote, whatever. But here's the weird one. Like, people are saying, democracy 1, Musk 0, liberal-backed judge wins key Wisconsin race in a bloated Trump's administration. Susan Crawford, supported by Democrats, won a seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court despite facing a massively funded opponent. Both these candidates were massively funded. I never imagined we'd be up against the richest man in the world and still win, Crawford said after the vote. While some headlines claim this could shift the balance of power, analysts urge caution. Still, it's a clear signal. Not everything can be bought, and Trumpism just took a hit where it hurts. Well, we already know not everything can be bought because Kamala Harris spent almost twice as much as Donald Trump on the presidential race last time. So, money doesn't always win. Okay, so anyway, they're excited about that. Now, in other news in Wisconsin, though, they did pass. They did pass the voter ID amendment. Apparently they already had voter ID in Wisconsin, right? Wait, why is my chat messed up here? Wait, hang on a second. What happened to... Hang on a second. Let me check something here. Why did... My chat completely reset. Anyone else have that problem? Everyone types something into the chat, whatever word. It can be something or whatever. That's weird. My chat has disappeared. Let's try. That's really weird. Let me see if I do this. Yeah, thank you, JB. Fart. That's a good word. Something. Okay. Let me refresh this. The entire chat disappeared. Let me refresh here. Nope, that's it. Okay, something happened. Did anyone else have that happen? The Q&A popped back up again like you did something. Yeah, I didn't though. That's weird. All right, well, I would end the Q&A because that's done. Godzilla's in the house. What's up, Godzilla? Nice to have you here. All right. Anyway, so, where is it? Here we go. Back to this. So Wisconsin already had voter ID, but apparently they decided to put it as an amendment to the Wisconsin Constitution, and Donald Trump is excited about this. Voter ID just approved in Wisconsin election. Democrats fought hard against this, presumably so they can cheat. The 45th and 47th president said in a post on Truth Social, this is a big win for Republicans, maybe the biggest win of the night. It should allow us to win in Wisconsin just like I did in the presidential election for many years to come. So anyway, the amendment was called Question 1 and read, photographic identification for voting shall Section 1 M of the Article 3 of the Constitution be created to require that voters present valid photographic identification, verify their identity in order to vote in any election, subject to exceptions which may be established by law. The amendment overwhelmingly passed the Badger State. It was 70. Well, now this is at 10:45 p.m. Eastern Time. It was 77% of the vote. I think the measure passed 62% to 37% per the New York Times. So enshrining in the Constitution makes it a little harder for the legislature to try and remove that. And there you go. Now, the amendment victory is striking in the face of Trump-backed conservative Supreme Court candidate Brad Schimmel's defeat against Democratic-aligned Dane County Circuit Court Judge Susan Crawford, which preserves the court's 4-3 liberal majority. Crawford previously called the state's voter ID law draconian. So much for that. I guess the draconian voter ID law got passed overwhelmingly as an amendment to the Wisconsin Constitution. So now it's constitutional there, Ms. Crawford, or whatever you call yourself, however you identify. Nobody cares. All right, in other news, and by the way, I've got another link here. Wisconsin approves voter ID, elects Crawford to the Supreme Court. So we got those already. And then in Florida, there were two or three special elections, one to replace Matt Gaetz's position in Florida, and one to replace Mike Walz. Both of those won by comfortable margins by the Republican candidates. So that's what's happened in Florida. In fact, here it is. Republicans sweep Florida special elections. Congratulations to America. That's what Donald Trump said. Republican Senator Randy Fine is projected to win a special election in Florida on Tuesday, protecting the seat for GOP that was formerly belonged to National Security Advisor Mike Waltz. And Republican State Representative Randy Fine prevailed over Democrat Josh Well in the Florida 6th Congressional District with a 54 to 46% at the time the race was called by NBC News. Florida 6 is a deep red district that Trump won by 30 points. And I got to tell you, you got to worry about the special elections. If you ever have a special election where you live, get people out to vote, because they don't come out to vote for special elections. They don't come out to vote sometimes, or even midterms. So you really got to have and the Democrats have a very robust get out the vote apparatus. And if you are a Republican or any other party for that matter, you need to make sure you get your people out to vote too. And so that seemed like it worked out in Florida, even though these are deeply red districts. A 10-point win is not that huge. So there you go. And then also, were there three? Republican Jimmy Petronas was leading Democrat Gabe Valmont by 56 to 43 after the race for Florida's 1st congressional district was called by the New York Times. So, there was a concern that the Republican majority in Congress would be narrowed, but that is not the case. So, congratulations, Florida. For my Canadian viewers, you probably saw this, but I found it interesting. Prime Minister Mark Carney, is he temporary? Like, aren't they having an election soon? Because he's the prime minister until they have their election. Because what's his face stepped down. Prime Minister Mark Carney announced the suspension of the consumer carbon tax. Yes. This policy change has sparked various reactions on social media. Nobody cares, with some praising the immediate financial relief for consumers, but some are criticizing it as a political maneuver ahead of elections. Oh, is that what it is? Pennsylvania? We'll look that up until after the election. Yeah, we'll see. Here's Mark Carney, I guess, saying that what he's going to do. If I can get the volume up, what the hell?
4 generations, Canadians have built this great country on the idea that if you work hard, like the people here at New Flyer, if you work hard, you should be able to afford a good life. A good job that covers the bills. Have a good home in a welcoming and safe community. 4 generations.
Oh, okay. Now here it says Carney's accused of plagiarism in his doctorate. And what does he do? He plagiarizes one of the main lines that Polier, how do you say, someone phonetically spell Polier in the chat, has been using for many weeks in his campaign speeches. So, the fuel price dropped 20 cents because liberals paused the consumer carbon tax. Oh, it's only a pause, maybe? Pause the consumer carbon tax, proving their own claim that 8 in 10 Canadians got back more in rebates than they pay in taxes was bullshit. Thank Mark Carney for this is like thanking someone after they stop punching you in the face. In French, it's pronounced surrender. Polivier. Okay. In French, it's surrender. 80s asking about the Pennsylvania elections. Let's see. Let's look up Pennsylvania here. Jesus. If I could spell Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania elections. Oh, here, let's put election. That would help. All right. Let's see what we got here. Pennsylvania. That's from November 6, 2024. That's not what I'm looking for. Was there a special election in Pennsylvania? I don't see anything here. Was there something? Are you just messing with me? Oh, here we go. Good for you. Not everyone shares your. No, Democrats just won for the first time in 137 years in Lancaster in Pennsylvania state Senate election. Oh, I see. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything here. So, were you just messing with me? Other than a state senate election, that's from March 29th. Yeah, there's nothing there. All right. Thanks for asking though, because I was curious as soon as you said it. All right, moving on. Now we're gonna get into a little bit about Spartacus, aka Cory Booker, and his 25+ hour speech on the Senate floor, breaking the record of fellow Democrat Strom Thurmond, who filibustered the Civil Rights Amendment in 1964, and then later became a Republican and hired black people. A lot of people are very fired up about Cory Booker, especially Frank Luntz. Now, Frank Luntz, the pollster, I don't know if he's for ABC, but he ends up doing a lot of stuff on ABC and CNN. And he said, Frank Luntz posted this, and he's trending because of this. He said, I just hosted a focus group of Democratic voters who are angry with Democratic leadership in Washington, D.C. What Cory Booker is doing right now on the Senate floor is exactly what they want to hear. Democrats would be smart to get a transcript and copy it word for word. And then he posts this particular section of Cory Booker's 25-hour filibuster on the Senate floor. Here's the section of the speech that he posted.
He promised to lower your grocery prices, they're higher. He promised, I'll be a better steward of the economy. It's worse than we inherited. Over and over, he's breaking promises and doing outrageous things like disappearing people off of American streets, violating fundamental principles of this document, invoking the Alien Enemies Act from the 1700s that was last used to put Japanese Americans in internment camps? Do we see what's happening? How much is enough?
Okay, so that's the section he decided to put out. And the reason I called this the end of Festivus was because Cory Booker's basically spent 24 hours airing his grievances. And so as I scroll through the people talking about Frank Luntz talking about this, well, first of all, Frank Luntz is another one. This is dumb. This is weird. 40% of U.S. affiliated Nobel Prize winners in sciences, physics, chemistry, and medicine between 2000 and 2023 were immigrants. Okay, and we're not stopping immigrants from coming here, just illegal immigrants. But again, poster Frank Luntz. Well, Cory Booker. Here's Frank Luntz. This is only a minute. Let's listen to Frank Luntz. He was on News Nation saying this very thing. And let's show you what he says.
But are they energized in running in a circle and fighting with each other, or are they energized in a direction?
They're going crazy right now. And they're going crazy because they don't see leadership in their own party. And I want to emphasize, What Cory Booker did over the last 24 hours may have changed the course of political history.
Really?
I watched a lot of it. I listened.
Now that's interesting. And I'm sure we're going to see plenty of sound bites on the news from it over the next few days. But change the course of political history? Does it maybe okay, I'm going to let him continue, but I'm going to guess he's thinking maybe some other Democrats will try to copycat this. But let's see what he says.
Listen to words. I listen to phrases, how he presents himself. Did he criticize Donald Trump? Of course he did.
Will he become
the kind of
presidential
tone
candidate
that
again?
Grassroots Democrats are looking for. He gave them a reason to fight. He gave them a reason to stand up and say, this is my country too. Of course, every Republican watching will say, this is nonsense. But he's not speaking just to Republicans. He's speaking to Americans. And what I saw over the last 25 hours absolutely blew me away. And just as you sometimes make projections or predictions, I'm going to do one right here.
Okay, here we go.
That speech puts Cory Booker as one of the leaders for the Democratic Party, 2028, and I'll go even further. If you ask Democratic senators right now who'd they rather have lead them over the next 3 years, they would choose Cory Booker over Chuck Schumer.
Okay, that happens because I think Chuck's in trouble. I truly think Chuck's in trouble because so many Democrats criticized him for going along with that budget deal, which was nothing, but whatever. Changed history, though. Yeah, let's change his name to Frank Dunce. Nobody watched that Bathroom Booker. No, I don't think anyone watched it, but Democrats were excited about it. I see lots of people talking about it. Now, here it is. So here it says, I don't know what that poor animal did while it was alive, but surely it didn't deserve to spend the rest of its days atop of Frank Luntz's head. Okay, that's talking about his hair. Poster Frank Luntz lavishes praise of Cory Booker for his 24-hour-plus rant about Donald Trump. Frank Luntz, with Tesla having trouble selling new Cybertrucks, the automaker is reportedly not taking any as trade-ins. Many Cybertruck owners reported they were trying to trade in the truck for the new vehicle and were told the company currently doesn't accept its own vehicle as a trade-in. That has nothing to do with that. Only Chuck Schumer would interrupt one of the greatest Senate speeches of all time. Only Chuck Schumer would try to steal Cory Booker's sacred moment. Now I fully understand why grassroots Democrats are demanding a change in leadership. Because Chuck, the smarmy prick from New York, I guess, interrupted. I just took the Senate floor to help Senator Booker as he stands up for the American people. That Chuck fucking Schumer. Why is there 15 minutes of Chuck? Okay, let's see what this is.
Would the senator yield for a question?
I yield for a question while retaining the floor.
And I have two questions, frankly. One on Medicaid cuts, which we talked about last night, and one on tariffs.
Oh, he's so
let me
dynamic.
say before I get to this question, your strength, your fortitude, your clarity has just been nothing short of amazing. And all of America is paying attention.
Okay, that's not a question. He decided to take some of the thunder. Luntz has lost credibility years ago. Frank Luntz shut the door on him. Republican pollster Frank Luntz said that he hosted a focus group of Democratic voters, and Cory Booker is doing exactly what they want. So that's why Frank Luntz is trending because of Cory Booker. So there's lots of clips of Cory Booker, and a lot of them are, everyone who's a Democrat on here is just lavishing praise and thinking it's awesome. And I don't know, maybe that will bolster his chances of becoming a leader in the Democratic Party in the Senate and maybe a Democrat presidential candidate in 2028. Yeah, maybe, but who knows? So now here's the moment where Cory Booker broke the record. Again, Chuck Schumer interrupting.
Let's get in good trouble. My friend, Madam President, I yield the floor.
Oh, that's where he actually yielded the floor, finally. But Chuck asked him what. Chuck Schumer wanted to interrupt again to tell him that he had broken the record. Real quick, thank you, Avocado Cialbi, for the first sponsorship of the day. You are Booker, the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Yeah. Avocados Diaby says, I give Booker's filibuster a 2 out of 5 stars. He might have gotten 2.5, but he did not read even a single line of Dr. Seuss. Yeah, very good. Very good. No Dr. Seuss, no cookie from Avocados Diaby. Good morning, Anna Lynn, by the way. So here's how the New York Post talks about it. Obviously, more right of center than other publications, but here we go. He's a legend in his own mind. That's how they started it out. I'm reading this fresh, obviously, because I did not read. All I saw was the headline. I'm like, okay, we're reading this one. Senator Cory Booker, Democrat from New Jersey, attempted another I am Spartacus moment for himself on the floor of the upper chamber, holding the Senate hostage for more than 25 hours as part of a marathon filibuster session opposing President Trump's agenda in Congress. I'm curious what they were doing when he started this. Were they discussing any bills? Because usually when you filibuster, you're filibustering a particular thing. So anyway, he said he started out, I rise with the intention of disrupting the normal business of the United States Senate for as long as I am physically able, Booker began a little after 7 p.m. on Monday. Wait a minute. 7 p.m. on Monday, meaning was the Senate even in session at 7 p.m. on Monday, or was he trying to finish, making sure he finished during prime time? For as long as I'm physically able, he began a little after 7 p.m. Monday. I rise tonight because I believe sincerely that our country is in crisis. Booker's speech, not technically a filibuster, because there was nothing pending on the floor, since he is not opposing any specific legislation, clocked in at 25 hours and 5 minutes, breaking the Senate record for the longest floor speech by another Democrat. The Senate chamber erupted in applause when Booker's remarks finally concluded. This is a moral moment. It's not left or right. It's right or wrong. Let's get in good trouble, my friend, Madam President. I yield the floor, the Garden State Senator said at the end of his speech. Booker's grandstanding verbosity comes after Democrats tried to turn the 2018 Senate nomination hearings involving now U.S. Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh into a circus by demanding the release of emails already in the public domain, claiming this is the closest I'll get to an I am Spartacus moment. Yes. The quote referred to the 1960 Oscar-winning movie starring Kirk Douglas as the leader of the slave revolt. Booker, 55, railed against congressional Republicans' upcoming tax, energy, border, and defense bill tariffs, Department of Government Efficiency, cost-cutting, and Trump's battles with the federal judiciary. The President and Elon Musk need to keep their hands off of our Social Security, which, again, I don't think they're doing anything with Social Security. Oh, John Arnott, how you doing? Booker lashed out at one point, referring to the Doge chief's recent actions trumpeted in Wisconsin on Sunday. It's not theirs to take. It's not theirs to break. The former New York mayor also dubbed his stalling effort, good trouble, in the tradition of civil rights icon, the late Representative John Lewis, as he denounced tax breaks that disproportionately go to the wealthiest. Disproportionately? Now that may be the incorrect statement. Not disproportionately. It's in proportion to how much tax you pay. So it's not disproportionately. But I digress. He also read from speeches from the late Senator John McCain and opinion pieces by right-leaning critics of Trump's tariff plans, including the Wall Street Journal's editorial board. Before Booker's stunt, the longest Senate speech in U.S. history was recorded by segregationist Strom Thurmond during his 1957 speech opposing the Civil Rights Act. The Democratic senator from South Carolina at the time, Thurmond spoke for 24 hours and 18 minutes. Why is my phone going off? Usually, oh, okay, it's all good. All right, 24 hours and 18 minutes.
Can I speak to Ray, please?
Whoa, no. What the hell? Shut up, phone. All right, He said, I was very aware of Strom Thurmond's record since I've gotten to the Senate, Booker told reporters after setting the new mark. I always felt it was a strange shadow hanging over this institution. Booker also went after Trump administrations for pulling funding from the woke Ivy League universities such as Columbia, which recently had $400 million of its federal grants and contracts frozen. Even with universities that got too woke, Booker said, the antidote to that isn't to try to shut down the thought of the left, but it's to make it a fair, competitive marketplace. Senator Chris Murphy, Democrat from Connecticut, one of the harshest critics of the Trump administration, served at points as Booker's wingman during breaks from the floor speech. Booker wore a black suit with a white shirt and a black tie during the speech and frequently opened a binder of quotes he brought as backup. Tuesday morning, as lawmakers were returning to Capitol Hill, Booker was growing emotional, reading letters from constituents about their Social Security needs and reciting the poetry of James Weldon Johnson, who led the NAACP in the early 20th century. I yield the floor for a question while retaining the floor, he sputtered while tagging in Senator Chris Coons briefly. Excuse me, I want to say that correctly. I yield for a question while retaining the floor. I do not yield the floor. Senator John Cornyn, Republican of Texas, snarked in an X response. Is anybody listening? Was anybody listening? Survey says. Alexandra DeLuca, the vice president of communications at American Bridge 21st Century, added, I worked for Cory Booker on the campaign trail, and I say this with love. The man drinks enough caffeine on a normal day to stay up to 72 hours. This could go a while. Senate rules provided Booker the opportunity to speak as long as he was able to, but shortly after eclipsing Thurmond's record, the senator quipped, I want to go a little bit past this, and then I'm gonna deal with some of the biological urgencies I'm feeling. I have to pee. Anyway, so there you go. That's how they gave the factual version of it. They also have an editorial version of it, which we'll get to in a second. But first, thank you, Avocados Diablo, for sponsoring the show again. I appreciate you dropping a $2.23 in the tip jar. We're getting closer and closer to the birthday goal. Anyway. Little known fact, inside the lectern, there is actually a hidden urinal. Sorry, though, women. No filibustering for you. I did not know. I'm guessing you just made that shit up. They don't pee right there on the Senate floor, do they? Cory Booker depends on his depends. Booker the hooker. Okay, lots of stuff in the chat about this. All right, here's the editorial. here's the editorial, though, from the New York Post. From the Post editorial board. Cory Booker's sad stunt epitomizes Democrats' empty agenda. Senator Cory Booker's pointless imitation filibuster epitomizes Democrats' pathetic incoherence in the wake of last November's defeats. The New Jerseyan took to the floor not to achieve something or to even oppose anything in particular, but as a stunt to symbolize how these are not normal times. Which actually, nobody who paid attention denies. The self-promoting 25-hour marathon drew a few curious viewers online and might have spoken to those. No, okay, wait a minute. That's not so. No, that's a few. I actually watched a portion of this on the AP site, or AP's YouTube channel. And the comments were just blowing by fast and furious. Lots of Democrats were watching it, and they were chatting up a storm. I was going to type something in. I'm like, it doesn't even matter because the chat was going very fast. There's like 20,000 people watching it on the AP. 20,000. That's a lot for any live thing going on YouTube. Although there's, how many people live in the United States? Anyway, so the self-promoting 25-hour marathon drew a few curious viewers online and might have spoken to those in the party's left-wing base who are still fuming that Senator Minority Leader Chuck Schumer didn't force a government shutdown last month, but it did nothing to thwart the Senate GOP majority or slow the Trump agenda. And it certainly did not win back a single swing voter. Such symbolic performances are onanistic as politics gets. But that's where Dems are right now. Indeed, even as Booker was babbling on the Senate floor, New York City Comptroller Brad Lander was announcing plans to sue Tesla for securities fraud, accusing CEO Elon Musk of abandoning the company for his budget-slashing Doge roll and causing the company's stock price to fall almost 40%. Wait a minute. Securities fraud? Good God. Lander's excuse in less than 3 months. Tesla's drop has cost the city $285 billion in pension funds. And it cost the city's $285 billion pension funds some $300 million. Suing CEOs over stock drops is a proven. No, Siri, I didn't say your name. Suing CEOs over stock drops is a proven loser. This is purely about Lander hoping to bolster his sinking mayoral candidacy by posturing against Musk. But then again, that's more of a point that we can find in Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Senator Bernie Sanders barnstorming the hinterlands with their ridiculous fighting oligarchy tour. Sure, the two socialists can draw crowds by ranting that the Democratic Party is heavily dominated by billionaires and run by consultants who are way out of touch with reality, but out of touch with reality also describes socialists in the eyes of most Americans. And their tour won't change that or anything else. Look, the party is down to 20% approval rating because Democrats keep fighting furiously on the wrong side of an 80-20 issues like protecting trans rights to compete in girls' sports. Grandstanding for the 20% will win their cheers, period. Nobody else cares, Cory. And that's it. That's the editorial. That's, okay, interesting. By the way, in other news related to Cory Booker, hello, Hoko Sports, what's up? In other news related to this, this happened just before Cory Booker's speech. One of his staffers got arrested. This is one of those articles. I opened it and didn't even check. Hang on a second. Let's see if this, oh God, I hate these. Oh, choose 3. Oh, it's not even in the queue. Well, here's the headline, and I'll have the article and the links later. Oh, no, I won't. I have to wait. Anyway, Cory Booker's, where is it? Here it is. I'll just put the unarchived version, just the headline, and you can just get the full one later. Cory Booker staffer reportedly arrested on gun charges shortly before his boss gave marathon speech. A staffer for Democratic Senator Cory Booker was reportedly arrested Monday on the grounds of the U.S. Capitol on a weapons charge, according to NOTUS. Kevin A. Batts, listed a special consultant or assistant for Booker, was reportedly arrested by Capitol Police on Monday after failing to go through security carrying a firearm without a proper license. Batts was reportedly arrested just before Booker began a marathon speech on the floor to protest the Trump administration's policies. Yesterday afternoon, a member of Congress let it out. Okay, anyway, that's all you need to know. Apparently that article is fine there, so I'm not going to give you an archive version. All right, now just some other news bits and pieces out there that I happen to pull up, and there's also the aggregator, but we'll do this. Apparently, a man was arrested for allegedly tossing nails and screws in driveways of Trump supporters. I heard about this the other day. A 63-year-old man in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, was arrested for allegedly throwing screws and nails in the driveways of Trump supporters. Alaric Dahlberg was arrested on charges of harassment, disorderly conduct, and related offenses on allegations that claim on several occasions, he threw nails and screws around parked vehicles belonging to individuals who voiced or showed support for President Donald Trump. Police add that Dahlberg allegedly threw nails and screws in parking spots where he merely believed Trumpers might park. Per court documents on October 30th, 2024, Dahlberg is alleged to have thrown nails and screws from his vehicle as he passed by a home that displayed several Trump-Vance campaign signs. On the very next day, a woman who works at a local grocery store reported nails and screws scattered around her parked car after work. According to police, Dahlberg admitted that while he was shopping, he decided to target her after overhearing her express support for Donald John Trump. So this guy's This guy's stupid as hell. But they finally arrested him. So there you go. There's more in the article, but you can read it yourself. Free Beacon. Remember Nina Jankowicz? They were going to put her in the I just call it the censorship board that they were trying to come up with during the Biden administration. Well, former Biden disinformation czar Nina Jankowicz refuses to reveal who funds her nonprofit, the American Sunlight Project. Let's see how this goes.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thanks to all assembled for this important hearing. I think the core interest here is trust with the American people. There are real issues with terrorists using propaganda and social media to spread their nefarious aims.
Yeah, the singing lady,
but
yes.
What we've seen happen in the last, particularly in the last 4 years, has very much eroded the trust of the American people with the use of big government to censor dissent and truth here in the United States. So
Nina loves her some censorship, too.
Jankowicz, the organization, the American Sunlight Project, claims to have a commitment to transparency and apparently does not extend to disclosing its donors. Has the American Sunlight Project received funding either directly or indirectly from the George Soros or his foundations, including the Open Society Foundation?
Thank you, Congressman. I've received a lot of threats for speaking out, and so I've decided that we're going to abide by the rules that other 501c4s in our country abide by, and we are not required to disclose our donors, small or large.
Sunlight Foundation.
I don't want them to be threatened the way that
Sunlight.
So sunlight for other people, but not for your donors.
Sunlight for thee, but not for me. So there you go. She didn't want to share who their donors are. That's interesting. Breitbart. This Elie Mystal clip. So he thinks that every law passed before 1965 should be unconstitutional. How long is this? Was he on The View? Oh my God. Anyway, Elie Mystal, a justice correspondent at The Nation on Tuesday on ABC's The View, said that every law passed before the Voting Rights Act of 1965 should be presumptively unconstitutional. Every law. Like, Mystal said, I set out to start to kind of try to write a Project 2029. When Republicans came into office, they come in with a sledgehammer. They come in smashing things that I hold dear. When Democrats come into office, they come in with like super glue and tape. And so they try to put things back together. So I thought about writing 10 constitutional amendments. That would be super cool if we had. But I was like, no. We need to smash the things that they like. We need to smash the things that are holding this country back. And so I came up with 10 laws that we would just get rid of, not reform, not update for the modern era. 10 things that we can smash if we're ever allowed to get power again, and that would make this country better tomorrow. So co-host Sonny Hassan said, one of the laws you write is playing out right now, the Immigration and Nationality Act. Now, this administration is using the statute to justify the detentions and possible deportations, actually, of visa and green card holders who they deemed a threat to the U.S. foreign policy. What do you make of the administration's use of this act? And more broadly, is Trump really setting up a First Amendment showdown, which is what Whoopi's been talking about? So Elie Mystal's answer, quote, yes, absolutely. One of my premises for the book is that every law passed before the 1965 Voting Rights Act should be presumptively unconstitutional, because before the 1965 Voting Rights Act, we were functionally an apartheid country. Not everybody who lived here could vote here. So why should I give a shit about some law that some old white man passed in the 1920s, like the Immigration and Nationalities Act? Oh, really? So I guess then, and now I can think of probably, if I sat long enough, think of dozens of laws that were passed before 1965 that he would think probably would still make sense today. For example, I mean, remember, they desegregated the schools in the 50s, not the 60s, right? But I was thinking of the one about the machine guns, because I think that law that they started after all the Chicago gangs and shit in the 30s, I still think those are unconstitutional, but they're still on the books. Yeah, so you want rape, murder, slavery, legal? Yeah, wasn't the abolishment of slavery passed before 1965? Ely, think this out, brother. So anyway, he's ridiculous. He spends most of his time in MSNBC. And then the only other article that I pulled out here, hang on a second, let me pull this, let me check what I have over here. Do I need to get to that? Oh, I do have one video to show you at the end. So anyway, this is a website called Behind the Black. Very interesting website, and he's got some really great writers here. Apparently there's a sunspot update. The NOAA scientists are trying to hide how wrong they've gotten things. And here it is. He starts out this way. My monthly sunspot update today will have less to do with the sunspot activity itself, which continued to show the very, very slow decline from a peak in August of 2024, and more to do with the games played by NOAA solar scientists to fool the public into believing they know more than they do. Below is my annotated version of NOAA's monthly graph showing the amount of sunspot activity on the Earth-facing hemisphere of the sun. This graph is significantly different from the graph the NOAA scientists have issued for the past few years, with all of the change designed to make it seem as if these scientists' predictions are on the money when they have been entirely wrong now for 2 solar cycles in a row. So, and this guy does a lot of stuff about climate change. A lot of the articles in this is about climate change. So this may get a little technical and boring, but I'm going to have you bear with me. The graph above has been modified to show the predictions of the solar science community for both the previous solar maximum as well as the ongoing maximum. The green curves that show the community's 2 original predictions from April 2007 for the previous maximum, with half of the scientists predicting very strong maximum and half predicting very weak one. The blue curve is their revised May 2009 prediction. The red curve is the new prediction first posted by NOAA in April 2024. So look at so each of these lines on here represents a different time that they did a prediction, and then they keep changing their prediction because the actual sunspot activity varied a little too far from their prediction. So they make new predictions to get it closer to where they were. And this is the criticism I have. There's a lot more in the article, but this is the criticism I have of the global climate change activists / scientists, is they constantly change things to make it seem like their predictions are right. And the most egregious example of this is when, I can't remember, it was 2009, and they decided to change the temperature record dating back to the 1850s. And what they did was they adjusted all these temperature records to show a gradual increase rather than the wild variations in certain years, so that it looked like, oh, look, see, now you look at the temperature record, it's just as we've been predicting. It's been a slow growth forever. In other words, they lied. They changed, and their excuse for changing temperature record, well, we have different places where we take recordings and this and that and blah, 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 blah. And now we want to adjust it based on what we've done now and whatever. It's so much of it is bullshit. You have a hard time knowing what to believe. And that's what I got to say about that. Now, to finish up, I have one other thing here, and it's just a video that I thought was funny, so I said, what the fuck, we'll just watch it. Okay, so here is, apparently, well, funny in a way, but sad in another way. Speaking of climate, this is a video of some climate activists. And then I'll let you make your own determination of how does this make sense. These are some climate activists at a Tesla dealership. I'm confused. Yeah, let's see. They didn't show what the sign they were going to put out there was. Anyway, this person says they aren't climate activists. If they were, they wouldn't do this. Or they are also the most ignorant people on earth. Yes, they are. And on that note, it would be time for me to go. You know what? Thanks everybody for joining me today on the Morning Night Live. As always, I'm about to drop these links as soon as I get the clicky going here. There we go. All right. Come on. There we go. All right. So here's the day's links for everything we did. Hello, Special Can Asset. How you doing? Here are today's links from the show. Bam. There you go. That's it. I got to go. Thanks for joining me today. I'll be back tomorrow. It's still birthday week, so remember that when you're thinking of donating to the show, because, Daddy needs new shoes. But that's it. I'll be back tomorrow. FTG Thursday. I'll try. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to really work hard on having lots of FTGs for you. So we'll do that. Other than that, I got to go. My name's P-Dog Knight, and I am out of here. Bye-bye. Have a lovely, lovely day. Hey, this is P-Dog Knight, and thanks for watching today on the P-Dog Knight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cash App, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm P-Dog Knight, and I'm out of here.